It's crazy, folks. The actually bounced. I believed it bounced. That's crazy. What in the heck happened here? So we didn't actually be able to come on here very long, but I do want to look. I'll just take you to the Chicago skyline. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. I think we'll talk about this a little bit more. We're going to go to the Chicago skyline here so we can evaluate what exactly happened here. We'll go to the Earth Cam here. Got glasses on here to share what's going on. But yeah, this attack on ICE agents needs to stop. Thank you, Football Jones. Thank you. And I appreciate your comments and you being here every day, just like all of you out here. I see some of the familiar faces. Y'all are great. Thank you for being here. We take you back to the Chicago skyline. This is getting out of hand, folks. Clearly, it was some sort of attack incident that happened in the Little Village area. You know, today, oh, by the way, today, let me share another information in reference to the National Guard in Chicago. So the federal judge gave a 3 p.m. deadline today to come up with a solution. So basically, as the judge is going to extend this preliminary restraining order, prohibiting the National Guard from coming into Chicago for at least another 30 days. And the judge is telling them, let me get the specifics about the National Guard, because the judge made a ruling today. And I just want to add that in the mix. 774. Where did it come? It came up today. I just saw, okay. Well, one, MSNBC is reporting Supreme Court of the United States is set to rule on National Guard deployment in Chicago with nationwide implications. The Supreme Court can decide at any moment now whether to approve the Trump administration deployment of the National Guard to Chicago. The impending decision carries implications for deployments nationwide as litigation unfolds in Chicago and Oregon too. Seeking to lift a federal judge order that temporary block deployment, U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer told the High Court that a lower court intervention countermands the exercise of the president's commander-in-chief authority and projects its own authority into the military chain of command. So what's going to happen here? Opposing high court intervention, lawyers for Illinois and the city of Chicago told the justices that state and local law enforcement officers have handled isolated protest activities in Illinois, and there is no credible evidence to the contrary. That is ridiculous, considering one incident that we just shared where something happened, where ICE agents appear to be under attack and people confronting ICE and Border Patrol. Last week, another place. Look at this guy right here. This is a tweet that just came out before this incident. Some guy sitting there warning everyone that ICE is in the Little Village area of Illinois. So for the city of Chicago and for them to say that there's no problem or these are just isolated incidents, no, it keeps happening. It's the third major one that we know about in just a matter of weeks. One, in the east side of Chicago, last week, they put tear gas into the streets. They also did that with the one when they ran the vehicles and the crazy wackadoodle woman with the gun who has been posing threats. So, you know, we'll see what happens here. Let me just read on for a second. The order in question came from U.S. District Judge April Perry, who is the district judge handling this restraining order, Biden appointee, who found that the administration failed to satisfy the legal requirements for deployment. She said there wasn't enough evidence of a rebellion or danger of a rebellion, and that there wasn't enough evidence that Trump can't execute federal law with regular forces. Explaining her decision, Perry cast doubt on the federal government's credibility, writing that while she does not doubt that there has been acts of vandalism, civil disobedience, and even assault on federal agents, the court cannot conclude that the government defendants' declarations are reliable. April Perry needs to watch just what we just watched. Among other things, she noted that officials did disclose that federal grand juries refused to indict at least 3 people whose arrest the administration cited as justification for deployment. A 3-panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit declined to freeze Perry's order as to deployment. On the panel were judges appointed by Trump and former President Barack Obama and George Bush. So it appears the Supreme Court is ready to rule on this any given time. But in the meantime, judge agrees to extend block on guards deployment in Chicago while waiting Supreme Court ruling. So the judge handling this case has extended the order for another 30 days. A federal judge in Chicago already blocked deployment of guards troops to the Chicago area for 2 weeks. Today, this morning, Judge April Perry extended that order for another 30 days. But she said each party could discuss the extension further before a meeting again today at 3 p.m., noting that they would not be able to issue another one. So attorneys representing the Trump administration said in court filings Tuesday that they would agree to possibly extend the block on deployment for 30 days. However, they are continuing to ask the Supreme Court to intervene. So it looks like that we might have a issue. We might have an issue. I have a clip here. I just want to play a clip here with LA, because LA has jumped into the fray here again. Karen Bass and a congressman, they spoke yesterday. And here, I just want to play this clip here because it's talking about an ICE tracking sites that they're using. They're using these ICE apps. They're using these apps to find out where ICE is, so then the people can go there and mass respond to ICE like you just saw earlier. I just want to clip right here.
With the mayor, over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker, where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on.
See what I'm saying? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy, folks. They want to track ICE's movement. Look what happened yesterday with ICE in New York City when they were on Canal Street, just rounding up illegal scammers out there selling stolen and counterfeit goods. What happened was ICE went in there, or Border Patrol, DHS went in there and rounded up these scammers. And then they got confronted big time by a mob of people who then tracked them down and followed them all the way to the Federal Plaza by Foley Square. And there was just a bunch of standoff and craziness that was happening there. It's getting out of hand. It's literally getting out of hand. Actually, we got that press conference with Bass. I'm waiting to hear more about that full press conference with Karen Bass yesterday. I know we're just talking about the different cities in general going on with not only Chicago, but LA, Portland, and now it has hit New York City. I'm looking to see where exactly Bass is. Bass spoke. She spoke in a press conference just yesterday, and she was speaking. Yeah, I do want to play this, folks. I think it could be important. We can listen to what they have to say because it does tie into what's happening in Chicago. We'll get it up in the pipeline. It does tie up to what's happening in Chicago, and just with these, they're stirring the pot. They're stirring the hornet's nest here. What they're doing is the politicians in these cities are encouraging the citizens to confront ICE. It is getting dangerous, folks. As you just saw on the beginning of this feed here, an incident happened today in the Chicago area, and they got ambushed again, it appears. Now, I don't know what happened with the crash itself, but afterward, the people there are ready with their flags, Mexican flags. So what happened in Chicago, what we just saw, ABC 7 Eyewitness News just came out with a report. Little Village crash blocks roadway. Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bavino is on the scene. There is a large police presence on the Chicago's southwest side after a crash. Federal agents are on the scene. Chopper 7 was over the scene just after 11 a.m. Central Time at 26th Street and Ogden Avenue in the Little Village area. At least one damaged vehicle was in the intersection. It was not immediately clear what led up to the crash or who was involved. There were several unmarked vehicles in the intersection and a number of armed federal agents. Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino was on the scene, as well as Chicago Alderman Byron Lopez. A crowd gathered outside of the Sam's Club, filming the agents and shouting at them. Some had flags. We saw the ICE flag. We saw the Mexican flag. Chicago police and Cicero police were helping with crowd control. All right, so that was what was happening there in the Little Village area of Chicago. But this needs to stop. This literally needs to stop. And these politicians are getting very, very reckless for whatever reason. I think they're bought off. I personally think Pritzker and Brandon Johnson is bought off by cartels, higher up NGOs, special interest groups that are pulling their strings. I cannot believe you have a governor and a mayor who's so adamant at going against the federal government, who clearly just wants to round up the bad apples out there, the worst people. Like yesterday in Chicago, or yesterday in New York, it was ridiculous that, the mayor candidate was speaking out, oh, they're going after vendors now on the streets. No, they're not going after just vendors on the streets. They're going after scammers, people out there that are scamming and illegal selling, stolen goods, undermining legit business owners, heckling, harassing, and bullying people into buying products on the streets, stolen and counterfeit goods. Now, where do we take you? We take you to right here, Karen Bass. I want to share this.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me thank all of our community leaders that are standing here in solidarity. I have to say that it's kind of sad we're standing here, because this has been several months now that this egregious attacks from the federal government continue. So we're standing here because since June, the beginning of June, what started in LA has now spread around the country. And we knew that it would. We said at that time that LA was being used as the laboratory, and that the egregious, unconstitutional behavior from our federal government was going to start here and spread around the country. We know that this has impacted undocumented immigrants who in Los Angeles are Angelenos, because we don't make the distinction. They are neighbors and workers contributing to our city, and they continue to be swept up in these actions, denied their rights, and subjected to fear and uncertainty without legal protection. But we're now concerned that there's not so much attention that is being paid to this in Los Angeles. But we will continue to say that this is not acceptable. We will continue to resist normalizing and accepting this, even though there has been what I consider an egregious decision from the Supreme Court that has essentially said that racial profiling is okay. But we know in the history of our country, the Supreme Court has stood for justice, and the Supreme Court has stood for injustice at certain periods of time. And when the Supreme Court has backed injustice, such as segregation and Jim Crow, it took mass social movements to have a new Supreme Court that would stand with the American people. So in addition to undocumented individuals being detained, we also know that legal residents, people who were attending court hearings, were detained. And we now know that there is evidence of over 170 U.S. citizens who have been detained. And it's important that we say today what is happening to undocumented immigrants is also happening to U.S. citizens, which means that this can happen to anyone to all of us at any period of time. I have had meetings with many organizations, many of the organizations that are represented here today. We have met and we've talked about what do we do now in this time period. One thing that we know is we continue to draw attention to this issue. But on Friday, I held a meeting with one coalition called One LA, and they talked about the need and the desire to begin documenting this injustice, and that maybe we should have field hearings to begin to document it, because when injustice is documented, then when things change politically, laws can be put in place so that this never happens again. Well, I knew that in this area, we were so fortunate to have a member of Congress right from our county, former mayor of Long Beach, who was elected to Congress just a couple of years ago, who was elected by his peers to be the lead Democrat on the Government Reform and Oversight Committee. That is the committee that conducts investigations. And so I called my friend and colleague, Congressman Garcia, and I talked to him about this idea of having hearings and asked him, would he lead an investigation into this injustice, and would he lead the effort to have hearings so that we can make sure that this never happens again. And so with that, I'd like to ask the ranking member, the lead Democrat from the Government Reform and Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia.
Well, thank you. I just want to first just thank you all for being here, especially, of course, all the incredible activists and leaders and organizers, members of the council, but especially I want to thank Mayor Bass. And I think there are few leaders, not just here locally, but across the country, that have done more, spoken out more forcefully, have been able to actually bring community together the way the mayor has done this, not just here in Los Angeles, but as a leader for the country on immigration, on issues of justice, and ensuring that people have basic dignity. I want to thank you, Mayor, for your work. And one of the great benefits of our mayor here in Los Angeles is she understands Congress. And having served in Congress, she also knows the ability for us to hold those accountable that are harming our people here in our communities and in our country. Now, we know that right now, Donald Trump and Kristi Noem are terrorizing immigrants, working people, the people of Los Angeles and of our state every single day. They violate the law and they violate the Constitution. They forget that the Constitution protects all persons and provides due process, not just for citizens, but for all people. We're here to remind Donald Trump and Kristi Noem that we will hold them accountable for their unlawful actions against our community and the United States Constitution. And while Kristi Noem sends her agents, deputizes ICE and other law enforcement to terrorize communities, she has now just yesterday purchased 2 private luxury jets at $170 million so she can travel around and continue her reign of terror on people across this country. But we're not going to back down. Now, Mayor Bass, I'm grateful for your support and your leadership. Mayor Bass and I talked just last week, and she is committed to ensuring that every single moment of terror, of injustice that happens here in Los Angeles and really across the country is recorded, and that we take note of every instance where people are being harmed. And so today I want to announce that the House Oversight Committee Democrats are going to record and create an investigative unit here to ensure that in Los Angeles, we look into every single brutal misconduct that ICE is committing. it's not just going to be in the House. I'm also excited to announce that the Senate and Senator Blumenthal has agreed that the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations will join the Oversight Democrats to ensure that this is being done in conjunction with both the House and the Senate. So what does this mean? Beginning today, we are demanding that all records and documents, particularly when citizens have also been detained, and how officers are treating citizens and those being detained, are available to our committee. We want to understand what they're doing in our neighborhoods, how it is being funded. And our committee is looking at tracking and investigating DHS, Kristi Noem, and all the misconduct, brutality, and also these new arrests that are happening of U.S. citizens. Over 170 citizens are being arrested. Why? Because they look like me. Because they are of Latino origin, or because they are suspected to not be a U.S. citizen, or because they're suspected of crimes that they have not committed. We know that right now in these detention facilities, a majority of the people that are being detained have not committed a crime. Now, we're looking forward to partnering with the City of Los Angeles and the entire LA delegation, including the City Council, to ensure that we are investigating also these wrongful deaths that are happening in ICE custody. Now, some of you may know, I actually flew to El Salvador earlier this year to try and advocate for the conditions of those folks who are being held in foreign prisons, which is now happening under Secretary Noem. We must go everywhere and protect every person that we can. I also want to announce, and this is really honestly to the suggestion of the mayor, and I thank her for this. We'll be holding the very first hearing from Oversight and the Senate here in Los Angeles. And I want to invite the community. At this hearing, we want the community to come and share their stories of terror, share the stories of their family members that are being unjustly treated. And so we can take account of every single harm that is being done, because we will hold folks accountable. And I want to say one last thing, which is really important. Democrats might be in the minority right now, but we still have the power to investigate. But when we win the majority and have the power to subpoena and have the power to get any document, have the ability to bring anyone forward to our committee, we are not just only going to hold Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller accountable for what they've done. Our message is clear. If you are out there and you are taking orders and committing these legal actions, we are going to hold you accountable. And we're going to ensure that there is justice for the people of Los Angeles, California, and the entire country. Mayor Ambassador, thank you for the invitation, and we look forward to launching this investigation.
I would now like to introduce Jessica Sanchez, the Director of Street Medicine Teams at St. John's Community Health Center.
Hello, my name is Jessica Sanchez. I'm the Director of the Street Medicine Team at St. John's Community Health. I was in MacArthur Park when the ICE raids happened on July 7th, when we saw the vehicles arrive on scene and literally point weapons at my staff members, telling us to get out of here with profanity. So this has become not only an attack on immigrants, it has become an attack on healthcare workers, it has become an attack on healthcare, and it has become an attack generally on the American people.
That's right.
My team is very passionate about going out in the streets every day to find the most vulnerable population in the area of Los Angeles. We see people that are homeless, that need wound care, that are waiting for someone to come and pick them up. And my team is now in fear, going out every day, having to face possible ICE military people in the streets, people in the clinic at St. John's are scared as well, not only our patients, but also our clinic staff who are also very passionate about helping the most needy, the most vulnerable people of Los Angeles. We are just in complete fear in general. Everybody is. So I think it's extremely unfair that Trump has now decided to make LA cities that happen to be Democratic cities that voted against him as training grounds for military officers. This is just in general unconstitutional. It's un-American, and he is the most anti-American president that I have seen in my lifetime.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce a leader from One LA, Ortencia Ramirez.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, Congressman Garcia, and thank you to everyone that's gathered here today. My name is Hortensia Ramirez, and I'm a leader with One LA. I'm a parishioner at San Gabriel Mission and a involved community member. I'm the neighborhood captain for our city, and also a long-time parishioner at the mission that I've attended since I first came to San Gabriel Valley at the age of 12. Many parishioners at the mission, including myself, are customers of a local car wash in San Gabriel Valley. About a week ago, on October 10th, I received a call from a parishioner warning me that ICE agents were detaining people at the car wash. Concerned, I drove down there. When I arrived, ICE had already left, leaving several workers gathered visibly frightened and distressed. The employees' accounts described that ICE agents wore bulletproof vests and military attire. They were armed and concealed their identities. They lacked any form of identification and proceeded to swarm and chase the employees. They lacked any form of identification, but proceeded to swarm them and they were treated with extreme violence and transported into a white unmarked van in broad daylight. They then suggested that I speak to the manager. The manager confirmed that they had detained 8 employees. 3 of them had work visas. 1 was a U.S. citizen.
Wow.
And the car wash closed down for the day and after the raid. Later that week, I followed up with the manager and he shared that they had lost 40% of their business. Okay. See, he also conveyed that the employee who was a U.S. citizen was detained for 5 days after the raid and was not allowed to communicate with his family. He was released, but is awaiting trial for next week for reasons that are unclear to him. The employee is fearful of what ICE may do to him and does not want to speak to anyone. The other 3 employees remain in detention in Adelanto. They were informed that their work visas were no longer accepted by the current administration. Like Mayor Bass mentioned, if this can happen to a U.S. citizen, it could happen to any one of us. People like the employees at the car wash need a public forum to share their stories of how civil rights are being violated. One LA applauds Mayor Bass and Congressman Garcia for calling attention to these stories. We need official public hearings where citizens and non-citizens can share testimony about how the federal government is violating our rights. We must document these violations so that our constitutional, civil, and human rights do not perish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Martha Arvelo, the Executive Director of CARESCEN, the Central American Resource Center.
Good morning. My name is Marta Arevalo. I'm the Executive Director of the Central American Resource Center, CARECEN. Thank you, Mayor Baz, our courageous city council members, Congressman Garcia, for your leadership and for gathering us today and for conducting these investigations and these hearings where people can get to tell their stories. I have to tell a little bit about my story to let you know what is happening in our community. In 1981, when I was almost 11 years old, my family and I had to flee El Salvador because of a civil war. It was a time where people were disappeared, were wrongfully detained, killed. Violence was everywhere, at every corner. Never in my worst nightmare did I think I would experience fascism, authoritarianism, and that level of violence once again. Carecen also manages a day labor center in front of the Home Depot located on Wilshire and Union in the Westlake area of Los Angeles. Our day labor center alone has been raided 4 times since June. Each time, federal law enforcement agents exercised more and more violence. The last time, workers and families were targeted with military-style gear and weapons. They were masked. They never asked for anything or try even to determine who is documented or an American citizen. They came early in the morning as people were going to work, as people were grabbing a cup of coffee before school, and they stormed in, fully masked, shooting tear gas canisters, shooting rubber bullets without provocation. People were attacked simply for existing, for looking like construction workers, for maybe having an accent. Whether you're a citizen or not, did not make a difference because they were never showed a warrant. They never even asked. They just shot and chased them down like animals. They tackled them. It didn't matter if you were a man or a woman, young or old, citizen or undocumented. They violently threw them to the ground, put their knees on their necks, and took them away. These actions should scare all of us. It should scare us because of the lawlessness, because today it's happening in Westlake, but tomorrow it can happen in your neighborhood. Right. And I would like to send a message to all Angelenos to continue to speak out against what is happening in our communities. You are not alone. Don't lose hope. City leaders like Mayor Baz and the Congress member will continue to fight. Continue to document. Continue to tell your stories because they matter. You matter. Community organizations like Carecen will continue to serve and protect immigrants and will stand with you against this lawlessness. You are not alone. Solo quiero dar unas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Marta Arevalo, yo soy la directora del Centro de Recursos Centroamericanos Carecen aquí en Los Ángeles. Y quiero darle las gracias a la alcaldesa, al congresista y a nuestros concejales locales por su liderazgo. Muchísimas gracias por tomar ese liderazgo para contar nuestras historias. Lo que está pasando en nuestras comunidades es terrorismo. Nuestras comunidades están pasando miedo y violencia. Nosotros también manejamos un centro de jornaleros aquí en Los Ángeles que ha sido, han habido 4 redadas.
Thank you very much to everyone that is here today. And let me just take a few minutes and acknowledge the organizations that are here and the leaders. And first and foremost, let me start with our members of the City Council, Isabel Jurado from District 14. And I just have to say, for each of the members of council, they have each been their districts have been severely impacted by this. I remember the day you sent me a text message of the tanks of Marines that were coming through your district. Eunice Hernandez, Councilwoman, District 1. Some of the first raids, if not one of the first ones, was in your district, the Home Depot. And you have continued to experience raids in your district. And Councilman Hugo Soto Martinez.
All right, so I just wanted to just, point a little bit about, her, I didn't want to bore everyone, but that was Karen Bass speaking yesterday. They want to they're inciting the masses to go track ICE down, follow ICE, film ICE, film everything ICE does. And this is, growing around the country, right? It's kind of like tit for tat, like with what's going on with Chicago's getting a lot of attention. So now Los Angeles comes out yesterday with a press conference and tells people to do the exact same thing that's happening now in Chicago. Now, I got some of the footage that just happened earlier today when we started this stream. I got the ground footage of what happened, some that now has been posted. I want to share what just happened a little bit earlier in Chicago today. So we're going to put this up and share it. Crazy stuff.
What are you gonna do? You'll never sleep again, you motherfucker! Fuck you, bitch! Fuck you! Now you're angry! Motherfucker! You're supposed to be on our side! You're supposed to be on our side! What the fuck? He ain't working. He's on their side, bro. He ain't working. You're on their side. You're on their side. Thank you. You're on their side. Oh, everybody. Get out of the road. That's all I'm asking is for you guys to get out of the road. Thank you.
What happened? Did tear gas him?
Yeah, got some tear gas. No, I'm good. Just got a little tear gas.
Like from the car? Or how?
Yes, somebody did something and just spit it out the...
While they were leaving from the car?
Yeah, from the car. They did it outside the car.
So they weren't like you didn't think they were in danger, they just did it?
This is it from the car. Somebody else got chased for it too.
I hate to be annoying. What happened? What happened?
I don't know, just probably some...
Car, tannish gray car parked in the west.
What happened that resulted in this?
Somebody was talking to them, and then they might have hit the window. The officer sticked out his hand. He sprayed. So obviously the wind kind of got it towards my face. So
Sorry, you're a good man?
yeah, that's got me right.
Is this your guy? Is your boy?
Yeah, it's my boy,
You
man.
got tear gas from while they were driving away from
Driving away, they shot out the window, and then with the wind, it just came towards us. And I saw on his face, like, turned around.
Yeah, I was trying to turn around fast as I can, man. That thing just came.
Because of wind, it was just like, shit, threw it
I
out.
don't have my glasses on, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what saved my glasses. As soon as I
You were
turned
right there,
around,
too.
I was like, I went like this, and I started coughing. I started coughing.
Shout out to this guy. He's still recording. He on that shit.
Yeah, I remember you. I know you.
I appreciate you. I remember CBS.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I recognize you too. That's why I was like, I think I know. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry we're meeting again like
I
this.
know, man. It's unfortunate. But, hey, listen, man.
Me too.
I appreciate you documenting, man. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's crazy out here, man.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't even know they could tear gas while driving away. That's interesting.
So this happened just a little bit ago in Little Village, Cicero.
So they arrested the guy they crashed on? Okay. Was he part of the patrol team, or he was just going shopping?
I'll try to get a couple boxes.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
I'm right by
So that was some of the footage from the ground perspective on what happened, folks. I got another one here too. I'm gonna put this other one up.
She hates you, bro. Just watch her. She hates all of us. She's fucking racist. It's on you. It's on you, bro. Ve y bésale las nalgas a Trump, tu patrón, güey. Get the fuck out of here! We are in Cicero when Gregory Bovino is here. I have several shots of him. Right here! You gotta get it! Right here! You fuck out doing something wrong, you get the fuck out of here! To do what? To protect the street? What's your name? They are leaving now. supposed to be on our side. What the fuck, dude?
It ain't worth it. He's on their side, bro. He ain't worth it. You're on their side. You're on their side.
Thank you.
You're on their side.
Everybody. Se pela. Se pela.
Get out of the road. That's all I'm asking is for you guys to get out of the road.
All right, so this is kind of repeat what we saw earlier. I'm gonna go to the Chicago skyline. All right, I'm gonna take you to the Chicago skyline. We're gonna review what we just saw there. Folks, that was basically the ground perspective. And then as we started out this feed, we saw the air chopper looking down at the scene. But folks, it is them using these certain, apps and certain, social media platforms and informing them where ICE is going to be. And they come with their cowbells. They come with their F flags. They're yelling and screaming obscenities and stopping ICE from doing their job. Now, I don't know what happened with the accident, but this is clearly they got ambushed again. This is not peaceful protesting. This is a deliberate. They're at doing their enforcement to come out in masses and just act the fool and act crazy. As we listen to Karen Bass, she's trying to get that same type of. They're trying to do that same thing in Los Angeles now moving forward because they probably see what's happening in Chicago and Portland outside the ICE, facility in Portland. And, LA wants to jump into the fray here. So the MO is these politicians in some of these cities like LA, Chicago, and Portland, they're trying to incite their masses to go out there and confront ICE by all means necessary. It is crazy. It's very dangerous. It's scary. It is not First Amendment protesting, folks. This is deliberate targeting here. I think crimes have been committed all across the board here, folks. I have another clip I want to share because, again, this is coming from Chicago media. The Supreme Court's about to rule about the National Guard. So, and one other thing I want to say is the Trump administration, these people are not helping their cause. They're actually hurting their cause because the Trump administration's using these incidents and documenting these incidents and using it in the court system, showing, hey, this is not just isolated incidents. We have a serious problem and we need National Guard in here to maintain control and to protect federal infrastructure and protect the federal agents doing their job. And so this is not helping them. It's actually hurting them. And they're going to use these incidents as justification to have the National Guard in there. So it's ridiculous. But, National Guard, I feel like it's be able to allow to be in the streets to, stop this madness. Now, let me hear, it's a media clip from Chicago, and then we'll wrap.
The Supreme Court will hear the case regarding the Trump administration's plan to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago. Yesterday, the Trump administration agreed to a 30-day extension on a judge's order blocking deployment of National Guard troops while the Supreme Court reviews the case. A federal judge made the initial ruling after both the city and the state sued, arguing the deployment is illegal. The president had said he would federalize 300 Illinois National Guard members and send around 400 Texas National Guard members to Chicago to protect federal immigration agents and property. Local state representative Han Nguyen is calling out federal immigration officers, claiming one of the officers drew a gun against him. The state representative says, and this is video of it, that he was in a vehicle on the northwest side of Chicago when it happened yesterday around 11:30 a.m. He was informing local businesses about their rights. Video shows the officers rolling up to the car. We've reached out to DHS and Border Patrol. We have not yet heard back.
Chicago Cardinal Blaise Cupich is speaking out against President Trump's immigration enforcement actions. He released this video. In it, Cupich said the Catholic Church will not turn away migrants who need help at its parishes or its schools. He also said the federal immigration raids in Chicago and in the suburbs have denied people their dignity and caused damage to communities.
Families are being torn apart. Children are left in fear, and communities are shaken by immigration raids and detentions. These actions wound the soul of our city. As the Archbishop of Chicago, I will insist that you be treated with dignity. Americans should not forget that we all come from immigrant families. You are our brothers and sisters. We stand with you.
Cupich joins other Catholic leaders, including the Pope, in showing their support for immigrants.
Now, I wanted to share that because, the rhetoric with people in positions of power in the Chicago area. Just heard the religious leader there, the Catholic Church, another individual claiming there was some sort of incident where ICE did something. That's inciting the masses. That is inciting people, along with the rhetoric of the politicians collectively, to go out there and confront as if, federal agents, if you are DHS, ICE, ATF, FBI, you're the enemy. You're evil. And this is going to get very, very scary, folks. I feel, I have this feeling, my feelings, might not matter to you. This is going to get bad. The National Guard, I believe, needs to be in the streets to maintain order here and protect federal agents. It's not shocking that Catholic priest would talk like that, considering Catholic Charities, one of the number one NGOs that received hundreds of billions of dollars over the years by allowing people to cross in the United States illegally through the southern border. Catholic Charities, look it up yourself. So, I'm not buying this rhetoric. You need borders. You can't just have no borders and have anyone just flood in. The result happened over the years from 2021 to 2024. About 15 million people crossed in illegally and are now in cities all across the United States. So that is the latest on Chicago, folks. The beautiful Chicago skyline. Man, that Chicago skyline's beautiful. But on the ground, it is a mess right now. And then, crime itself, murders and shootings and gangs. What a mess. What a mess. We'll continue to give you updates if ICE gets ambushed again, and we hope not. We'll share on JLR Investigates. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you, everyone that contributed. See a lot of the familiar faces here. As always, folks, we bring you true crime and breaking news 24/7, 365. Pray for Chicago. Pray for all the cities. We'll see and we'll see. I mean, if the Supreme Court rules that the National Guard can go into these cities, I'm not, I wouldn't be shocked if people start rioting. So we got to keep, an eye on that too. So we got our eyes on all the cities. Yesterday we were live in New York City. It was crazy. Whew. All right, stay tuned, folks. Be safe out there. We'll talk later. JLR Magnolia Investigates. Stay safe.